Youth Revolution host, mentor, and teacher duties. For each class, for each unit class, we'd like to have, on average, at least 3 adults there. Each one has a different responsibility. They can cross over as much as you want, or they can be very separated if you need to. The first person involved is the host. The host's only real duty is, we need your home. We need someplace for them to meet. We don't have gargantuan chapels. We don't have youth convention centers, which we'd love to have, but we don't. And so we need somewhere to meet, so we just need somebody willing to open their home. Ideally, the host would maybe provide refreshments besides a glass of water, maybe cookies or, whatever bad for your body stuff that kids like. That's what they would be doing. And also, they would probably be helping mentor and teach the kids from time to time. That's ideal. That doesn't always happen. If all you can do is host a class and have the kids meet at your house and provide them with a glass of milk and a graham cracker, great. That's what we really need. If you can do more than that, that's really helpful too. So that's the host. The mentor is really an assistant. We label them mentor instead of just calling them an assistant because that's part of the focus of this program. It's a leadership program. We want adults to mentor the youth. We don't want them just to teach them. We don't want them just to show up and say, here's the activity, now go home. We want them to mentor them, to befriend them, to help them in to set their goals, to help them accomplish their goals, and to help them pass off their goals. And those mentors can be, and preferably would be, youth that are in an older class visiting from time to time. So I mentioned this in another video. A mentor could be a 16-year-old girl who's coming to work with the 8 to 10-year-old boys, and they're learning some skill she's really good at. Say, basket weaving. I don't know. Should have thought of that earlier. Anyway, so she's going to help them with basket weaving. So she's going to spend her whole month going to the weekly meetings, teaching them different principles of basket weaving and making it fun for them. Maybe she teaches them how to apply it so they can make sheaths for their knives instead of just baskets. So the mentor is there to help the teacher. That person does not teach the class, although they might substitute from time to time. That person is not there to conduct the meeting. They're just there to help. Ideally, again, each child will have a parent show up to the meeting with them, and that parent will help the child with whatever project they're doing. That ideal doesn't happen all the time. In my family alone, I've got like 7 kids who are involved in the program, and they're going to like 5 different classes. There's no way I can go be to every meeting every time, and neither can the rest of my family. So we're going to just trade and rotate between the classes we go to. That's going to be common. It happens a lot, and therefore you're going to have kids who do not have a parent with them. So the mentor's job is to look out especially for the kids who do not have a parent with them, and to make sure they're working on their goals, accomplishing their goals, and in the combined meeting, just that they're accomplishing whatever project they're. So if they're working on basket weaving and they're having a hard time with a certain part of the weave to make it work for the handle of a knife sheath, for instance, the mentor is there to help them. Maybe the mentor is not an expert basket weaver. That's okay. They can act as an intermediary, ask the expert for a little bit of extra instruction, and pass that on to the youth who's struggling and work with them. That's the purpose of mentor. They're basically there to help, but again, we want the emphasis not just to be an assistant, but to be somebody who takes an active involvement in working with the kids, helping them set their goals, and those types of things. So that's why we use the term mentor. Lastly, and most importantly, is the teacher, who ironically doesn't teach, at least not every week. The teacher's job is to find experts who can teach on a given field. So if you're doing survival skills and you're like me and you know almost nothing about fishing and would rather stay away from fishing, and in fact, if I'm invited to fishing, I probably won't go. If you're like me and then the kids say, we want to learn fishing, you're going to need somebody to come in and teach them. So you, as a teacher, instead of trying to spend 3 hours on the internet and looking and learning about different types of lures and different techniques and skills and stuff, what's legal and what's not, I just invite a good friend of mine who can come in and tell them everything they could possibly know about or learn about fishing. And I have him teach the class Maybe he teaches it once, maybe he teaches it 3 or 4 times that month. Depends on you and depends on the situation. So, for instance, you might have an expert come one week and he teaches you about fly fishing. So you learn to tie flies and make your own, and that's your project for the week. And maybe that ends up taking longer. It takes 2 weeks. So you have an expert come in for 2 weeks and teach you that. And then you, as a teacher, actually take them out and let them use their fly fishing. You don't have to know anything about it. You just take them. And then the next week, you have your expert come in again, and this time they teach them how to use bait for big fish and to learn more about the techniques to use for deep fishing or something like that. And that's it. So the teacher may teach the class, but they might not. They might get an expert. And preferably, at least once a month, you would have an expert come in and teach a class for you. That said, most of the time the teacher is going to conduct the meetings, the small group meetings, which is a separate video. They're going to be the ones conducting. They're going to provide spiritual thoughts and lessons. And when there's not an expert, they're going to be the ones that are conducting the meeting or conducting the activity or both for that particular meeting. That's the duty of the teacher. Again, all of those, the host, teacher, or mentor, they can take turns, they can rotate so that one person's teaching once a month, and that's on average what they do. One expert, host, teacher, mentor, that's 4 weeks. Most months that'll cover it, and that's what they do. Or it can be more strict, like I mentioned earlier. We really don't care as long as all the teachers are getting along and happy with whatever the arrangement they've got. So, some other duties of the teachers. Make sure your kids are setting your goals, you're helping them approve their goals, and they're getting goal reviews, and that you know who is approving and or reviewing their goals. So for instance, a teacher's job is to do those things, but if there's a parent who's really active, they just need to be aware this parent is helping them accomplish, they're doing the goal reviews and the goal approvals and that sort of stuff, and they know they don't need to worry about that particular student. They need to help the student who's got a parent who doesn't show up so much, and they can just follow it from time to time. They just need to be aware of these things. They don't have to do all of that by themselves. The host can help, the teacher can help, the mentor can help, the parents can help, but the teacher ultimately is responsible for making sure that all that happens, and then the teacher is responsible for making sure that all the kids who accomplish their goal report that to whoever's in charge of printing and making the award certificates, so that those are taken care of. All right, next thing the teachers are involved to do, and this is especially true of the branch, although we're struggling with this with the AB as well. The only condition I have in offering this program right now to other people giving licenses to use it is that every month they fill out their battle analysis and send it to me. The reason this is so important is this is a new program. All of the problems that we're going to find and discover over the next year will probably show up in the first 2 or 3 months. If you're having a problem with a part of the program, you're like, this isn't working, or we're not understanding this, or my kids won't fill out the goals because it's too complicated, or whatever. If there are challenges like that that I can fix next year when we do the next manual, or that we can modify the program to make it happen so it's easier and better, I need to know as soon as possible. If it's 9 months into the program, we start losing kids who are no longer interested because of a problem. Or we have kids who are not interested in going to advancing because they don't like the way this teacher does it, or whatever. There can be any number of problems that we can struggle with. For instance, at Rocky Ridge, the kids are developing a reputation for being messy when they leave Youth Revolution meetings. I don't want that reputation to be there, so I need to know right away so we can fix it. So doing a battle analysis, not for the award itself, but for the class and how it went for the whole month. You have sheets for that, one for each unit of the year. I just want feedback to say I'm teaching 8 to 10-year-old kids. The unit was arts and creating, and here are the struggles that we had, and this is what went really well, and that kind of information. You might think your problem is isolated to your class. That's a very common reaction in programs like this. It's probably not. So if you have even a small critique or a small challenge, let me know, fill out those battle analysis sheets, and then I will look at those and provide tips and helps on how to do better next week. Now, I already have an email list for everybody involved in the Core Youth for Revolution program. If people from the branch want to send me their email, I will send you the same emails that I'm sending to everybody else. So I'm looking at the battle analysis and saying, oh, we've got a lot of teachers who feel like they don't know what kind of spiritual thought to give because they didn't watch the video and they don't remember what to do. So I will send an email reminder out and say, look, at the back section of your Youth Revolution handbook, and the Junior Revolution handbooks, you've got several quotes at the end that are inspirational quotes and empowerment quotes. Find one that applies to your subject. That's your spiritual thought. You don't have to do a lot of research into this. Don't feel like you need 20 minutes time preparation. If you need a last minute thing, just skim through it, find something that can be your spiritual thought, and that can be a reminder, or send out there for new teachers or whatever if people are feeling like it's taking too long. That kind of critique is really helpful. It's very easy for me to find a solution, but I don't know to offer that to the teachers unless I'm getting battle analysis. So that's the other main thing. Lastly, the bulletin board. This may vary from group to group or section to section, but here we've got a bulletin board specially designed for Youth Revolution. I want the teachers to be involved in spotlighting their youth who are doing something exceptional. So, for instance, that girl that wrote a song, I want her picture on the board. I even got somebody to take a picture so it could go on the board. That needs to be done so that we can have a constant rotation of kids are accomplishing things, making it look new, making it look exciting, and announcing and spotlighting kids to encourage them to do more, and so that they'll feel good about what they do. So if you want to put spiritual thoughts up, if you want to make announcements for your class, the bulletin board is available for that. If you want to put something up, just talk to me. I'll show you specifically what can be put up there. Done.